Welcome to Rally the Tartans Beyond the Games, where we lift culture and throw tradition beyond the field. Today we're taking a step away from the throwing trig and into the heart of Scottish heritage. Because while the games connect us through strength, it's our clans that connect us through story. And no story carries that legacy quite like Clan Fleming. In January of 2026, Clan Fleming will gather from around the world right in Pikeville, Kentucky, at the Brothers Wright Distillery for a celebration generations in the making. So today, we're joined by Tammy Fleming, president of Clan Fleming Scottish Society, Lindsay Fleming, executive administrative assistant, and Angie Fleming, regional director, to talk about history, heritage, and why this gathering is one no Fleming should miss. Ladies, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, welcome.
Hi, how is everyone today?
Doing great and super glad you guys came on because this is something that's important to me to make sure that we get this information out so as many Scottish families and clans can start joining in mass numbers. So let's start right at the beginning. For those listening who might not know the full clan history, who were the Flemings of Scotland, and what was that legacy does the name carry today?
So basically, if you go back in history, the Flemings came from Flanders, which is modern day Belgium. And we came over as mercenary soldiers under William the Conqueror and stayed. Everybody loved Scotland so well. We were serving various houses and the royal families. And Robert Fleming, who is our first lord, received that title because of his service to Robert the Bruce. And that's a story all on its own. But if you go back in history, the clan actually didn't have a Fleming name, which was very similar to a lot of the clans until they came to Scotland and started using surnames. So if you go back in the history, you'll see a lot of Roman type names. You'll see a lot of European, a lot of French, a lot of Spanish, until they came to Scotland and then took on that Fleming name. There was a lot of discussion in the history about were they named because they were from Flanders, and that's how they got the Fleming name. But there's still a lot of discussion about that among historians about where that name came from. You go a little bit further up into the history, and then you get into the interesting part of Clan Fleming when they actually started serving Robert the Bruce and his predecessors. So our story got started during the let's say the argument between Red Comyn and Robert the Bruce as to who was going to be the king of Scotland. And there was a lot of infighting among the clans at that time and things like that. Pardon me. So they agreed, Red Comyn and Robert the Bruce, to meet at Greyfriars Abbey. Robert the Bruce was very religious and had promised the friars in the abbey that he would not draw blood, that this was simply a meeting for discussion and to determine who was going to move forward as the king.
It was, in all intents and purposes, a peaceful meeting is what the intent was.
So they all show up at the abbey. Bruce enters in. He had brought knights with him. So Robert Fleming was one of the knights. Kirkpatrick was one of the knights. They're the two main characters in the story going forward. So Robert enters into the abbey and finds out that it's an ambush. And Red Comyn is there with his son and his brother. And Robert stabs Red Comyn, thinking that he had killed him, walks out and said, "Oh my God, look what I did." You know, he broke his promise to the church and was very distraught. And so Fleming and Kirk said, "We'll go in and check it out. We'll make sure that, you know, that what you think happened really happened." So they enter into it and they kill Red Comyn. They finish him off. They kill his son and they kill his brother. And so they came out, and that's when Fleming was holding Red Comyn's head and said, "Our family motto, let the deed show." So basically, he was taking on responsibility for the death in the Abbey and absolving Robert the Bruce of any blame. And in
That's
recognition of that, that's when he was then given his title of Lord Fleming.
So the Fleming motto, let the deed show, it's actually one of my favorites in Scotland. What does that phrase mean to you personally, and how do you see it reflected in your clan's actions today?
Personally, for me, it's all about sticking to your purpose, proving people that we can do it no matter what, that perseverance, that strength, that sense of honor that is in the clan. I think today it's probably taken on a little bit more of a modern feeling of us trying to reestablish the clan and what do we need to do to get that done. So everything we do in an attempt to that is followed up with let the deed show.
I love it. So, and every clan has its legends, its warriors, nobles, families who define their name. Is there one historical figure or story from the Clan Fleming that truly captures its spirit, or is it that beginning where you started?
Definitely Robert. And we jokingly call him Bob. So if I pop in accidentally and call him Bob, that's why. But he is really the one that kind of established who we were as a clan and was the first one to get land. Coming off of that, though, there were so many who continued to serve in the royal court. For instance, there was Margaret Fleming, who was one of the chambermaids to Mary Queen of Scots and actually helped deliver James, her son. Her sister Mary Fleming was one of the four Marys, ladies in waiting. So that history continues on and that service continues on. They went on then to become governors and different government positions, highly recognized. But if you look at the famous modern, what I would call modern, the first one that comes to mind is Alexander Fleming, who is the inventor of penicillin.
And discoverer of penicillin.
Right. The discoverer of penicillin. Then you have Ian Fleming, very well known for all the James Bond fans out there. And then one that's maybe not as well known, but in my household is very favorite, is Victor Fleming, who was a director of movies and was the director of Wizard of Oz.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty awesome in itself.
Right. So there are a lot of others that come off of that. If you go on and do a Google search for famous Flemings, it's page after page after page, athletes and government officials, and it's an amazing family. It's nice to see, hopefully, if we'll all come together.
So let's actually talk about the event that's bringing it all together, the 2026 Global Gathering of Flemings at Brothers Wright Distillery. What inspired Pikeville, Kentucky as the location for this gathering?
Well, really, it was wanting to get our clan back together. There's been some debate about that, right, Tammy?
Yes.
About our status. So we have a huge Facebook following right now of about 400 members. But Tammy, tell them how many that you need to get our status back.
In order, according to the rules of the Lions Court of Scotland, in order for us to reestablish as a clan, we have to have 100 members, active members that are voting members. And at some point in the future, all of those people, and it can be more than 100, but you have to have a minimum of 100, will gather at a clan gathering to then determine
a council of sorts.
A council of sorts to determine what the future is and how that's going to look. So it requires hiring a professional genealogist to go back and determine who is that next in line for a lord. We haven't had a Lord Fleming since the 1600s. So it'll take a little bit of work to find that out. And then it's quite a long process, anywhere up to 10 years to reestablish in the Lions Court.
Okay. Well, that's definitely a task that can be done. You guys have a big history. Pikeville, though, I'm a Kentucky kid myself, so I'm super interested. Is there like a connection to the land, the people, or the distillery itself, or is it just a good location to host a a party?
Well, it's kind of an array of two or three things. One, it's, the descendants of the Fleming clan have came to America. A lot of them have actually settled in the Appalachia region, unbeknownst to a lot of people. And two, we're Scottish here, and a lot of people say Scotch Irish, but I call it Celtic. But that is a big part of the heritage here. And so when I was thinking about how could we do a meeting include everybody, right? How can we connect with the rest of the world in the clan and grow and reestablish ourselves and keep our history and heritage with our family and clan alive? So, and I was thinking, what better way than to find a venue where we could do a live stream for people that can't be here, and then people that can be here to celebrate our heritage in one place where we can come together globally. And so I started looking for venues and just got this idea because that's what I do. I have a marketing degree. And brother's right. I went and toured it and I was like, yes, this is the place, because it's not part of the distillery where we're having the event, but it is attached to it. So we have a private event space upstairs. And that's where we'll do the live stream. That's where we're going to do our presentations and about our history and all that during the reveal, so to speak, about like where we come from and things like that are new with the clan and what we're trying to do. So we're going to do that with the Zoom. So anyone who wants to do the Zoom via live stream, it's $20. $20, that's it. And that just goes to pay for the cost. That's, just, we're not getting rich off of this. This is just to get us going and reestablish the clan. So like, if you have a whole family of 4, you can sit there on the couch and watch it for $20, and that all goes to help preserve our heritage as the Fleming clan. We also are having a general admission ticket where it's $40. So that's not bad. And that just basically includes some light hors d'oeuvres, endless soda, tea, water. And we're also going to have a cake with our family crest on it. So that's what that includes during the presentation. Now, there will be a pub downstairs, and there will be a full, authentic Irish pub, Scottish, with a bar if people want to purchase alcohol. But, that's optional. So, you can bring people that are underage, but, to get the alcohol, you have to be 21 plus. And the Wright brothers are also very generous with us and have helped us a lot. So they also donated a gift basket where they can win a bottle of their scotch, but you have to do a raffle. So that's kind of our fundraising effort. And we have some other gift baskets, right, Tammy?
Yes.
Going to do with like family crest and things like that and merchandise in them. But you have to be there to actually enter the raffle. One, because, you can't sell tickets online because of our 501 status, and 2, because of the alcohol involved. So we have to card people that win it. So, or take chances. They have to be 21. So we can only do those at the event. So each ticket is $5. If you buy a bundle, it's $5 for 20, Tammy?
Mm-hmm.
And then also, because it is attached to the distillery in the next building over, they are offering a ticket where you can do a flight tasting. So it'll include, I think, like 4 different Scotch flavors on it where you can sample what they make. And you can also do the tour. And that's an additional add-on ticket, which is not bad at all for the price. And it is all handicap accessible too, which is wonderful. And so they can take the elevator upstairs to the private event space, and then they can also go down into the distillery because there is a actual elevator for those that are worried, like I can't do the tour or whatever. And so the tickets are available right now on Clan Fleming, ClanFleming, INTL for international.org. And they just go under join and purchase their tickets. for the flight tasting, it's not that expensive at all. So it's just an add-on option that they can do. And I think it was, let me see here. Oh, I forgot to, $20 for the flight tasting. And say you have a couple that wants to come, we're giving you a break. So the tickets are $40 individual. So if you come as a couple, it's $75. So you do get a super price on that for couples that come in.
That's super awesome. So if we're painting a picture for Flemings that are on the fence about coming, I've heard we have Scotch tastings, we have storytelling. Did I hear music? Are there going to be some Calais there where there's dancing involved? Did we cover that?
We haven't covered that yet. And
Okay.
so, yes, I'm working on some really exciting things right now. And this is all new. I don't have everything hammered out yet, but there's some very exciting things in the works. There's going to be some singing, there's going to be some performances, maybe some dancers, and it's all authentic Scottish. So, it's something that I don't think has been done here before in Kentucky that I know of. And maybe it has in some events, but not on this scale for our clan.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. And they say gatherings are just they're not really just reunions. This is really a revival of heritage. I'm super excited for everybody in Clan Fleming. It sounds like it's going to be a great event. You still are 2 months away from it, maybe just a little under 2 months away. So for someone who's just discovering that they have Fleming roots, what are some of the best ways for them to reconnect with the clan before January?
Probably the best thing would be our Facebook page, which is Friends of Clan Fleming. That's where they're going to find all the information. There's constantly new material being posted on there. We have a quarterly newsletter that comes out called The Deed. And I hesitate calling it a newsletter because it typically runs around 30 pages.
It's more of like a magazine.
Right. So you'll have access to that newsletter on a quarterly basis. I'd also encourage people to go to the website, which is clanflemingintl.org. And there we'll have all the history. It'll have how we got started, who we are as a clan today, who are all the famous people, who are all the different lords, what castles and properties did we hold in Scotland. It'll just give you a really thorough history of what the Clan Fleming is all about.
Well, that's fantastic. So how far are Fleming members traveling from to attend this event? Are you seeing any participation across the U.S. or anybody from overseas committed yet?
Well, the invitations went out, like Angie said, globally. So we have one member from China. We have a lot of members in Australia. We have a lot of members, obviously, in Scotland and Ireland, Northern Ireland. We have a rather large family of Flemings in Argentina. And we have a large family in Canada that are almost Eskimo. I forget what the name of the Indian culture is that they're in, but it's a whole village full of
native Flemings.
And then interesting, another little piece of history is Liberia. And a Fleming gentleman actually helped in the liberation of Liberia. And so there's a whole group of Liberian Flemings.
That's pretty amazing.
So we're all over the place.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, hopefully they all descend onto Pikeville, Kentucky, and have a great time. But for those folks coming, when Fleming family members walk through those doors for the first time, what do you hope they feel? What pride, what belonging, sense of home that only a clan can give? What are you expecting for them to feel?
I want them to feel like they're part of something greater than just their self and their heritage. Because until I started down this journey myself, I had no clue. And just to feel connected to family, I think that is the biggest thing. And the pride of where you came from originally, who your family is, and what are their values and what do they stand for. And hopefully, we can preserve that and have even greater leaders in the future. I see all kinds of very talented Flemings, from actors to producers to especially writers and people in the medical industry and politics. There's some very famous people in politics right now that we're related to. So, yeah, I just want them to feel like when they come up the stairs or get off the elevator and they come in, they're going to see an experience as soon as they come off the door. They're going to have a sign-in sheet. They can buy the raffle tickets. There'll be merchandise available there for them to purchase for the clan. And then we're going to have photo booth or step and repeat where they can take photos with props or whatever. So it's going to be a really fun experience, and it's a joyous celebration and occasion to come together globally. So when they come in, what I'm hoping that they feel is, because of the decor, I'm not going to give it away yet, but they're going to get an authentic experience when they come in of where we come from as a clan. Not only with the decor, but with the way things are going to be set up. And I'm hoping that they feel part of the clan when they see this. This is going to be authentic, and it's going to be global at the same time for people that can't come. Maybe they're working, maybe they can't travel, maybe they are elderly, shut in, but they can still participate. And that's what we want. And, we're all over the world. We didn't just stay in one spot. We populated the world. So, Lindsay, tell them a little bit about our Viking heritage and why that's so. I want to hear. Lindsay is our Viking expert here.
So, our particular branch, we are able to trace back to a particular Viking explorer. And I don't know how much Viking culture you guys get to on the show, but just to give you a little bit of Vikings didn't believe in the surnames. It's usually your father's name. So like if it was Eric, Eric's son or Eric's daughter would be your last name. Or they go with really interesting monikers. So there's some things that
we can't tell our family moniker because it's not polite.
No. But I mean, if you watch any of the Viking shows, Sigurd's Snake Eye, or Ivar the Boneless, there's some things that you get some really interesting names from. Some of them not decent, not for decent company, in ours in particular. But there are some other interesting, monikers that as these people explored and, traded and basically mapped the world, by water, exploring out from our particular, Scandinavia and Belgium, the different migrations, it just being able to, I don't know, be prideful traders and, be able to be a Fleming, and our actions speak louder than our words. It's a very, very Viking mentality of this is, let the deed show, let the our actions show, this is what we intend, this is what we we mean business type of thing. It's, I don't know, it's kind of a it's a very warrior like lifestyle that has come back. But
well, and if you know any Flemings, that fits very well even with the modern Flemings who love to argue. So
very stubborn.
Yeah,
stubborn.
And I've never seen a Fleming that doesn't like a fight, honestly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially the men. They're not afraid of a physical challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
I've got one cousin, he's never lost a fight. He was like, I live to fight. Almost every one of my family have been, I think every male in my family I know of has been in the military.
Yeah, that's
they're warriors, and they have been since the Viking days. It's just bred into our DNA.
Yes. And as we came across, in boats as, explorers, traders, raiders, everything, the Viking way, we spread like wildfire, and we've been prolific ever since.
Yeah.
We could probably do a whole nother show on Viking stuff. My legal middle name is Wolfgar.
Very nice.
Cool.
So,
Love
uh,
it.
yeah, we've got a few companies named after it and things like that. So I'm almost 7 foot tall. So there is some Thorkel the Tall in
Yeah, yeah,
in my
you
bloodline.
Your
definitely
family are
descended of
tall men
Jotun.
too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So,
We,
but
we need to have you come down to Grandfather Mountain, be on our tug of war team.
Yeah,
I would, but I am a member and regional director of Clan Campbell. So,
Clan Campbell's the one that destroyed us, and
no,
that's why.
we're bridging those old gaps today with this podcast right here. So, um,
The new alliances, right?
new
Yeah.
alliances. That's right. That's right. But listen, we are seeing a major resurgence in interest of Scottish ancestry and clan life in general. What do you guys think is kind of driving that renewed energy?
Definitely a lot of the media lately, especially, Game of Thrones is really popular. There was Tudors and Reign that were very popular as far as the historical dramas. And
Outlander.
now there's Outlander that is, and it's particularly
Braveheart
Scottish. So that has,
movies.
yeah.
Yeah. There's a new one getting ready to come out too, I hear. So, all these
Yeah.
people that fought in history, they make movies about these people. They're legends.
Yeah.
I definitely see Hollywood helping the resurgence.
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, it definitely has. It's been easier to have conversations. Me though, I wear my kilt every chance I get, whether it's a wedding, a funeral, or maybe just a special football game. I'm the guy on the sideline with a kilt on. Our head coach laughs a little bit about it, but hey, we're the Highlanders, and that's what we do. So. I guess my question to you guys next would be how are you, I guess, how are the younger generations of Flemings, how are you going to keep that culture alive with them beyond gatherings like this? Do you guys have a youth outreach or?
So at the moment, no. Technically, I am our youth outreach. So we are trying to, like I said, we're very infantile stages of trying to get our clan back together. With our global spread, a youth outreach would definitely be something that we could definitely see in our future, being able to have that outreach, get younger kids kind of invigorated with history of this is where you come from, this is this is our family, this is what the people of your bloodline, this is what they have stood for in the past, this is what you can do anything as long as you step into those Fleming, let the deed shaw kind of mentality. So it definitely something we would want to do in the future, and as at the moment it's something we definitely could do.
Yeah,
And right now we
in
are
our
doing
family,
outreach.
yeah, in our family in particular, I didn't give them any choice. When I became onto the executive board as treasurer and vice president, and we sat down, my husband and I, Larry and I, sat down with our family and said, if we're going to do this, we want everybody involved.
Yeah.
So the first games that we went to, it was just Larry and I, and then we went down to Grandfather Mountain this year, and there were 10 of us. and all from our family. And what I think helps is going to these games, doing these types of events, and it draws in people that are then fascinated by their family story because they didn't know that it existed.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They didn't understand how involved the Fleming family, the House of Fleming, Clan Fleming, was in the history of Scotland and Australia and Canada and the United States, and what our outreach was. It's interesting, if you go to Scotland, they call the Fleming the lost clan. There's a recognition that the history is there and everything, but it's not talked about as much as like the Campbells or the McDonalds, or some of the larger clans.
We are a very underwritten house in history.
Right. So we're trying to bring about a resurgence of the understanding of what that means to the family, and instill that pride in Flemings all over the world.
Right.
Okay.
And because a lot of people are losing their heritage and history, and that's what we're hoping to preserve by going to the Highland Games. That's one reason Tammy brought me on board as regional director, and I accepted because, one, I'm a historian, and two, you know, I just love anything Scotland, castles, whatever. I just live for it. So, you know, I'm hoping when I go to Kentucky, Virginia, and Tennessee to these games that I can connect with more youth and educate more people about our history and just reach out and help expand our family name and get us back as a clan. And it's just a labor of love. You know, we all do this for charity. We don't get anything from this. This is just a labor of love for us because we love it.
I completely understand that. And I'm not sure how you guys want to answer this, whether it just be one or all three of you in a challenge format. But if you could challenge every Fleming listening right now to take one action this year to honor their heritage, what would it be?
That's a good one. I think I would challenge all of the Flemings to try and live a little by let the deed show instead of, you know, especially in a modern world where, you know, you can say anything on anywhere, you know, text this, you know, sticky note that. Stand, you know, let the deed show. Do take pride in an action and let that deed show of your character. So
Right.
take on that Fleming mentality of, okay, you know, if do something with honor and pride of your family and, you know, of you're standing for something.
And share that with us.
Yes, share it. So we want to connect everybody. So, you know, on the Facebook page, whether you submit in with the newsletters, because we do family stories in our newsletters, which is kind of how it became more of a magazine. But, you know, it's not just a certain panel of people, you know, putting out this information. Is we want to, you know, hear from our other Flemings. You know, do you have a story of what you most like, you know, how did you put it in our last like the stories of like family Fleming time and traditions and things like that.
Right. Our last newsletter had an article from a Kentucky family member, and he shared a story about what summers were like where he grew up in Kentucky with all of his cousins. So Angie's going to be sharing a story in the next newsletter about kind of where her family got started and her trip. But I would encourage everybody to learn as much as they can about their Fleming history and to embrace that Scottish culture. And it's so easy to do. There's so many. Robert Burns Night is coming up. There's Christmas coming up. There's Hogmanay coming up. There are so many different events in which you can celebrate your Scottish history and do it in a Fleming way.
Mm-hmm. And if you've never been to a Highland game, you don't know what you're missing as far as your culture comes from. I like the military tattoo. I mean, it's the bagpipes, the drummers. I mean, the uniforms. I mean, you feel the pride and heritage in your history when you go to one of those. And I encourage everybody. As a matter of fact, I'll give you a little tidbit. We're going to have a bagpiper at our event. So if that tells you anything, that's just a little teaser for the event.
Well, good deal. Now, listen, is there anything else that we need to tell them about this event, or I'm going to go ahead and make sure we knock everything out the park to wrap it up for you ladies?
No, I
think we covered everything for the event.
It's open to everyone, not just Flemings. I mean, it is a public event. So the local community here is really wanting to come out full force and support it in Pikeville, Kentucky.
And that's why all the clans should be helping you guys throw this and getting you guys back on the registry with Lord Lyons there and making sure. But this January, everybody, Clan Fleming is proving that heritage isn't just something that we look back on. It's something that we live forward. From the highlands and the lowlands of Scotland to the hills of Kentucky, their story is still being written, one gathering, one toast, one deed at a time. To our guest, thank you for sharing your time, your passion, and your clan pride with us today. And to our listeners, mark your calendars. January 2nd, 2026, Pikeville, Kentucky, at the Brothers Wright Distillery, because the Flemings remind us, let the deed show. Until next time, I'm Michael Paul Wolfgar Lewis, and this has been Rally the Tartans Beyond the Games.